of if you could go back and speak to yourself during a particularly difficult holiday, what would you say to that version of you? I really like this idea of like reflecting back. And with our wisdom that we have now from where we're at, I would love to hear, yeah, what we would say now with what we know. Oh, and then we can pop into this next question that we just got in the chat.
I just not even having to create a particular time or day or whatnot. I want to walk over to her and put my arm around her and pull her close and say, "Aw," do the there dear thing. I just feel like that would have been extremely helpful.
Yeah, I echo that, Joan.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I just think go back to the holidays where I was so fearful, like, yeah, like just so scared of Christmas coming because, again, being confronted by all these food issues or whatever. But I wish I could go back to myself now, talk to myself now and just like take that power away from the food and, just be like, what if you do eat loads of food on Christmas, like that's not going to affect my long-term health at all, like it's so not a big deal. I mean, it felt like a huge deal, but just to tell myself that like it is completely okay and it doesn't have a long-term knock-on effect, like a few days if you eat loads of food and so I think to tell just that basically. And also that like not to set crazy rules for myself, because I think I would be like, okay, I can't eat this or I can't eat that, and just set all these rules, which then made Christmas like so difficult and so unenjoyable because I was just like so rigid and so strict with myself. And there was so much anxiety around that. So I think I'd say just like forget about any stupid rules that I'm trying to make for myself, because like I'm only probably going to let myself down and lead down a further spiral. So I would say, just like don't set rules and be kind to yourself, and really know that like it doesn't matter if I eat way too much in one day. Yeah.
Oh, I love that, Gigi. I also love this suggestion or this offering that was put in the chat. I put lotion in my purse and put it on my hands in social settings to love myself past anxiety. I love that. That's a great, those little things really do make a difference. Um, I have there's two little things. Well, two things I would say to myself back then is, and I mean, it doesn't sound very helpful now, but I wish I could go back and let myself know that the things that feel so big in this moment will look very, very small if you even remember them in the grand scheme of things, because the emotion and the charge around it was so big. And I'm not sure I would have listened to myself, but it gives it gives me ease these days when something is like really kind of charged, is to think about 10 years ago, the last time I felt discharged about something, how I feel about it now. And it helps me kind of lessen the anxiety around ruminating and what'll happen if and all of that stuff, is the things that's overly charged. Um, and then oh gosh, what were you just saying, Gigi? Because it triggered something. Now it's gone out of my head.
Rules?
Yes. Oh, yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Um, the other thing is that I would tell myself that to be kind of open to things being completely different than my expectation of how they're going to go, because often I would create a whole bunch of anxiety about for before it happened that didn't even manifest in reality, and my emotions would be like it was real. This is and then the last thing that's related to that, I would like freak out about it ahead of time and it would actually happen and it wasn't that bad. It wasn't nearly as bad as I imagined. So to be aware of how that thinking ahead of and forecasting can create emotions that don't, and anxiety that doesn't need to be there. And then I think my wisdom in like my more recent self and that I navigate now is that when other people are having a really strong reaction and all that kind of stuff, I used to get into like people pleaser mode and go, oh gosh, I've upset someone and like, oh no, and now I can't take care of myself. And it would just become a whole thing. The best way to deflect and to move on is just to come in with love and care and not to react to the like, and so if someone's, for instance, if someone's upset that I'm staying on my own or something and all that sort of stuff, instead of to get into kind of a conflict around it, to come in and like, I am so excited to see you. I'm so excited to see you and spend time with you. And yeah, I've got my own place, but I can't wait to see you. And to use the positive emotion to move. And again, sometimes really difficult, but I used to almost fuel it, like the negative, and I would fuel it with more negative because I'm like, no, I'm anxious. I'm like, how dare you? How dare you? But now I just try to bring in the love and care, and I find things transform a little faster.
Mhm.
A helpful reframe of that. Like we can take care of ourselves and we can say like, I love you. And that's also why like I love you and I'm excited to be with you. And I'm also doing this so that I can show up to provide that love and so that I can be enjoying this too. And to not say that yeah, I think that's so helpful because it's been historically so easy for my brain to get pulled into that, like, oh, I did something wrong. Now I need to suffer and I need to stay like, or make it better for them. And then internally, like causing myself harm long term. That's so helpful. I know Chelsea, I love that you said I don't know if I would have listened to myself because I struggle with that a lot when I'm like, would I have listened? And I think that's part of my stubbornness that I'm like, gosh, I would hope I would. I hope I would listen to myself. I think the biggest thing that always comes up is that I wish I would have allowed myself to be like myself and allow other people around me to be themselves and not feel like I need to control things or that we need to all act a certain way or like so much pressure. I think I wish I would have released pressure from myself and from others around me. Um, which I think then boils down to being like, I wish I would have been present and just said like, enjoy everyone for what they are and not assessing for what everyone's not or what we don't have and focusing so much on that and like comparison. I'm realizing all of these themes as I'm saying this out loud. So thanks for being on this journey with me with this thought. But yeah, allowing there to just for things to just be without the intention of like, oh, how would this look if someone else was witnessing this and like saying like that's not happening. We can just sit here in this and that can be enough. Yeah, I would hope that I would take that advice because I think that would have helped me move through things with much more simplicity.
Mhm.
Oh, I love that. I didn't feel like you were wondering at all, Lydia. I was right there on that journey with you.